Good evening, Vigo's Court. Welcome back to everyone who is coming back from our first stream, and welcome to everyone who is here for the first time tonight. I am your judge, Judge Shep. I am joined here by Counselor Q, and I hope you guys are ready for an exciting match because tonight we've got Immortal Alliance versus Hookers.
What it do, what it do. It's time to get into it. It is our second matchup of the night, which is also our second matchup of week number 3. You already talked about it, Immortal Alliance, Hookers. So I do have a question for you though. Where do you think is the place that you can usually find the hookers hanging out at?
Papa's basement?
No, the saloon, of course.
That was a loaded question, okay? Yes, we are going today, however, to Dead Dog Saloon, my favorite map. Pretty small map, a 6 hook minimum, 11 hook maximum. It is the Hookers' home map, so they're going to be very comfortable here. I hope. I mean, it's a great map.
Yeah, have very much always been a huge fan of the Deadest of Dogs, the saloon. It is a smaller map, as you had pointed out there, right? So, this is a map where some of your M1 killers who typically struggle in comp can shine a little bit. This is a place where killers like, say, a Wraith can be actually a viable killer at, even in the competitive scene, right? So going to be interested to see what options our killers, our two teams do opt to go with as far as for the killer side.
I am very excited to see what comes out today. We saw very good games from both teams last week, so I am excited to see what they bring to the table tonight. I'm hoping to see a little bit more variety in killers. I don't think we're going to be seeing too many S tiers. Hookers did bring out one of their S tiers last week, Tijuana on Nurse, but I'm excited to see something different today. I'm kind of thinking that these guys will deliver.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like due to the size of Dead Dog, there's not a lot that's off the table, right? I feel like maybe you still don't put your best killers on here. I don't think we see very many S tier killers. You have a couple of elevated gens, especially depending on your RNG. Sometimes across from the saloon, you have the elevated gen, or on the opposite end of the street, there next to the shack. Sometimes it's up on the elevated side. So sometimes like the Huntress can give you some extra ability, so you don't have to, push up onto the saloon or push up onto the gallows. So maybe seeing something like that. I don't know. I would also like to see maybe Deathslinger come out because you do have home field advantage, but it definitely seems like Deathslinger's nerf, even though he wasn't really high on a lot of people's tier list, it seems like the perception of him has definitely changed some even since then.
Yeah, I definitely think Slinger's nerf was really, really brutal to him.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't. I have seen, so my good friend Osu is a Deathslinger main, and as the nerf was rolling out on the PTB, we were in there all together in custom lobbies being like, okay, how does this work now? What can you do with this? Kind of being like test dummies for him. And so I have seen that there are ways to get around the nerf, kind of. You definitely do have to play a little differently with Deathslinger now. Because a lot of his lethality came from his quick shot ability. And so making it so that they have to aim down the scope, like you can't quick shot anymore, definitely took away a lot of the speed that made Deathslinger's ranged ability so favorable. And of course, again, like you can play him a little differently now and still have good success with him. I just don't think he can keep up in a comp setting, especially because he is like the only 110 male killer on the roster.
Yeah, and I think you had mentioned, we do see where you can get a change in the play style now, but I think a couple of things. One, they took away what was his strength without really replacing, or I guess you could say buffing like the weakness, right? Which is the overall map pressure in the 1v4. So I don't know how much we end up seeing, which is sad too, because I also feel like without the ability to quickscope, it kind of took the fun part away from, as far as like playing him even out of the competitive setting, which is why we haven't even seen him as much in pubs. It's just because it's like just not even as fun to play him, right? Also, I realized I had forgotten my beanie. I had to bust it out and make sure we had the matching set,
People were about to riot. You got there just in time with that. Yeah. I was gonna say, they're asking for the beanie. I don't know how to slide this one in there. But yeah, does look like we are just waiting on our survivor.
I'll send Orange an invite here to make sure we can get the process going here. But is there a particular killer that you would really like to see over the course of these next 4 trials?
Last week we saw a very impressive Pyramid Head come out, and I am kind of on the Pyramid Head train right now. I would also like to see who else on this map? I think Freddy does okay on this map too, honestly. I know he's not like really a strong comp killer, but again, it's only week 3. You're not really wanting to pull out your S tiers.
Right.
And if at any point this feels like a game that could be easily won, or there's a little less pressure on the killer side, I feel like Freddy, he can just pop around. It's a small map anyway, and him being able to pop around wherever he really wants to, I think it could be okay for him.
Yeah, I think as far as what I would really like to see, I've been enjoying seeing a lot of Plague since seeing her change, and I feel like this is a map where you can kind of see her shine a lot. Just because it's a smaller area, and when you do have the sniper rifle, the corrupt purge, you do still have that ability to push pressure up onto things such as the gallows, or up onto that top gen, up on the saloon itself. So you have some ability to really be able to spread that pressure itself all the way around.
I agree. And it looks like everyone might actually be ready. So I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short, because they are already. These guys are quick on the trigger. They are ready to get going. I hope you guys are ready too, because it looks like we're getting ready to roll into match 1 of our second game of season 3. Game 1 of match 2
of week 3 of season 2.
It's a lot of numbers. Not good with numbers. Not good with numbers.
Look, this is the first trial of this matchup. Yeah, that's all that matters. But yeah, we see our survivors here starting to ready up across the board. And this is going to be interesting. I feel like every time we have seen hookers come out, I feel like we see improvements every time, both on the killer and the... I mean, honestly, I feel like you can really say that about both of our teams here today. So I'm going to be really excited to see kind of what they've taken from weeks 1 and 2, and see what they put together as far as the game plan.
Absolutely. I am very excited to see what they bring to the table. As you said before, both teams have shown a lot of improvement between their week 1 and week 2 games. It's been very exciting to watch them each develop in their own right. So can't wait to see what we're going to see today from either of them. I'm very, very excited to... I don't know. I don't really have any favorites here. I just want to... I already know it's going to be a really good game, so I don't know who to cheer for.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely anticipate this is going to be one of those matchups that we're probably not going to have like a clear-cut winner until we're, at least midway through trial number 4. I do think if I am going to have to pick a team, it would be Immortal Alliance. But again, I anticipate this being a very close one all the way to the end. So we're going to make sure here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bloody blueprint. We've got ourselves a cut coin as well. So let's go ahead and talk about how our killer can rack up these points here in trial number 1.
You got it, dude. So our killer is looking to score as many points as possible for his team. And if you are wondering how he can do that, let's talk about it. That first hook is worth 1 point. The second hook as well. The third hook is worth 2 points. Progressions are worth 1 less point. The 7th and 8th progressions are worth a bonus point each, though. So you can kind of make up those progression points. A 4K is worth 2 points total. So you really want to get that 4K there, get those extra points. An entity kill is going to be the corresponding hook state plus progressions. But if you hide in a corner and you get lost in the grass and you bleed out, 0 points for the killer. There are 30 points available. If you want to hear the rules a little bit better than I could explain them right there, go ahead and type !rules in chat for me and read it with your own eyes.
And we are going to see, we're still going through the loading screen here. I know it's hard to believe long loading times in Dead by Daylight right now. I know. We're
Dead by
all
Daylight? What do you mean?
yeah, I know, right? But I am excited here, and here we go. Now we are going to be able to officially move right on in True Trial number one. And man, oh man, can I just say, I am really, really good at this whole like talking about what kind of killers we're gonna see. We see the Wraith Daddy coming out here in trial number one, and I like this pick. Again, the Wraith obviously within the base kit itself has the ability to traverse the map very, very fast in that while you're in that cloaked status itself, which really helps during the course as far as the beginning part here. You can kind of scope out the map, especially the faster you can get over here towards the actual main building itself, open everything up, break out because this is a pretty big loop over here at main building, right? So breaking that apart and get everything going. And now Techno Badger is going to be, also, of course, you also want to do it to Shack because it does make the Shack loop a little bit smaller here. But now at this point, Techno Badger going to be able to go into the corrupt portion of the map and see if you can locate yourself a survivor here. We are going to see that corrupt intervention, of course. Corrupt intervention is going to be something that we're going to see quite often in the competitive scene. You rarely are going to want to give all of the survivors, or the survivors, I should say, access to all of the gens. But we do see our survivors did do a pretty good job thus far trying to play very stealthy, trying to wait out that corrupt intervention for just that reason. But we are going to take the chase here. This is going to be an early hit onto Claudette, which is interesting because I feel like we were just chasing the Nia, but there's a hit onto a Claudette. We have two survivors here. And now, though, we are going to see probably a, early use of a Shack pallet. I do like the play there. I think you probably forced a dead hard. Still got the down through the pallet there. And you do hear a little bit of activity up top. Kind of surprised to not see them drop down, try and make a move in for the save, but this is going to be hook number one, and now you can even start a little bit of pressure knowing that you have not only the person up top, but you can hear over here you've also got some more pressure on this generator as well, which means you've got a couple of people around here, and you can kind of just start spreading this pressure early.
Absolutely. This is a very dangerous position for our survivors. Even as that corrupt intervention comes down, this is kind of a central location on the map, so our Wraith, with his inherent speed boost, can get a lot done here without having to go too far.
Yeah, and we are going to see that Repressed Alliance. Interesting to see that play, that perk coming out here again. We did see that come out in our matchup earlier. We're seeing that come out more and more. I do like it as far as it prevents the ability for the Wraith here at this point to cause damage to that gen and start the regression. Even though we do not see any sort of ruin or anything, or we don't see any Thana as far as helping the slowdown here, but at this point, Techno Badger making the easy play, especially since you just saw two survivors. You know that they are not really working on those two gens that have the most progress thus far. So you're just going to go ahead and secure up yourself hook state number 2 here. And I really like this. Now at this point, you should be able to come on up here, break this gen, or at least give it a quick kick, I should say. That's going to start the regression. And as soon as the unhook comes across here to Claudette, you will probably see a tunnel out, but you're also going to see another damage to this generator here. So a lot of progress was started, but we are going to see some regression coming in. Techno Badger going to be able to kind of stick around in the area. We do see some scratch marks though. Maybe someone moving in. We do hear though they are working on that generator back upstairs. That's actually the Kate. Unfortunately, that's going to be a swing and a miss. That's going to allow our Kate to build distance.
Absolutely. And again, this is a really dangerous position for our survivors to be in. Not only is their teammate pretty much getting camped out here, they're at the very least not moving out and getting a lot done. Their two gens over here that had the most progress are in very easy range, with another two in the easy sight of the Wraith. But even despite that, our survivors did at least get one gen done. So even though it looks like Barry will progress to death here potentially, yep, right there, it was at least not for nothing.
Yeah, and it is worth noting there, we do see that generator up top there on the gallows was the one with the most progress. However, also notice that with the second generator getting complete, it was actually that further back generator that got covered up the second time, meaning that there's actually was a survivor back there working on that one. Won't be surprised to see that survivor probably rotate towards the gallows gen at this point, because of course when you are in the situation where you have deadlock in play, you just simply rotate and hold M1 on another generator itself. That is going to be B Orange, though, going down here in this corner over here by the actual water tower. The good news for you, if you're Techno Badger, you are close enough. I think you should be able to secure a basement hook here, and that would actually be very, very critical, seeing as you're already in a 3v1, and now those survivors are going to have to go even further to secure that unhook. The good news for survivors, though, you did just get yourself your third generator.
Absolutely. Deadlock here, not quite doing too much to slow this progress as these survivors tear through these generators.
Yeah, and we are going to see here now at this point, though, again, the generator that ends up getting covered by that deadlock rotated again. So we do know that our survivors here being very, very efficient as far as where they're focusing their energy, even with the one survivor going down relatively quickly and basically just getting camped into the elimination there, right? We are going to see at this point, we got a survivor moving in towards the basement. Easy decision by Techno Badger to come back across the way here. Should be able to apply the M1. Now you have 3 Android survivors across the map. You also have a map that is kind of depleted of some very, very valuable resources, whether it be the broken walls amongst the two ways here. Is this somebody in a locker? Are you B Orange? Do you have the decisive strike? Are you going to do what I think you're going to do? Slap some with the D. Let's go.
Nice. And that is freedom for B Orange. A quick decision to honestly very smartly distract the killer from their teammate and draw attention to them when they know they can get out of a bad situation.
And yet again, we are seeing even more repressed alliance value. Techno Badger securing the down here onto Kate Cook. This is also going to be a hook right on to there you go. That is going to be a fresh hook there for Kate. But do keep in mind, we have not seen a reset onto either of our survivors here. So they are, I was going to say, yeah, probably being very efficient on a gen. The bad news, though, is now the Techno Badger coming back over this way. You do, of course, have a, you decided to break away. I was going to say you had yourself a little, pallet on the backside to deal with, and instead you come this way. Ooh, gets done, stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face. And now what we're going to see is Techno Badger making the very easy decision, breaking chase, and just as Techno Badger was probably figuring, we do see the unhook coming across the way. We're going to see the uncloak, not going to be able to secure the down, being very patient. Is the Zarina, nice dead hard there to avoid the swing. That is going to build yourself a little bit of distance. However, I don't think you get very much further. And of course, since B Orange has already hit Techno Badger with the D, you no longer have to worry about it. That's going to be back up onto the hook you go, my friend. That is going to be the last generator getting done, though. So even though Techno Badger has done very good job of staying on top of putting out pressure, our survivors doing that much better of a job, now getting the 5th generator complete. Unfortunately, that is going to be a no-ed here. That is going to be a second hook for Kate. I am not sure if Ashley's going to be close enough to go for the save here, or if Ashley's just going to make what would probably be the right decision, which is going to be going for the escape, knowing that Ashley, if I am not mistaken, has not been hooked. That's a fresh hook going out the door. That's 2 progressions, so you're at least taking those points away from the killer as well. Really, I like the job by the Survivor Squad. Even though the killer did an amazing performance here, getting all of the hooks that they did, the survivors doing a good job making sure they not only get the generators done, but you even get yourself a couple of escape points as well.
Yeah, definitely maximizing the amount of escape points they're going to be able to get there. Good for them for prioritizing their survivors who are the most valuable to them. Especially once Noed hits the table, it's kind of like, all right, well, if we don't find this totem immediately right now, you know, we are just going to have to leave it, and leave it they did, which is always the right decision in this situation, I feel like. And again, maximizing the amount of points they're going to get because they were able to get somebody out with a fresh hook. So even though that is 3 deaths, they did maximize the amount of points they were able to maintain, or were able to gain, to keep that that score a little closer to even.
Yeah, so definitely a good job. You know, it's interesting because I feel like with the map that we're on, right, Dead Dog, it's one of those maps that's kind of perceived as being typically like a more killer sided map. It's smaller, there's less resources and things, but with it being a smaller map, and we have coordinated teams like we see in the competitive scene, that also means it's less distance for them to cover to get what they need to get done in order to leave, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And so now we're moving into match 2, where we are going to see the Hookers killing on their home map. So, Q, what do you think? What do you think the Hookers are going to pull out, based on what we've seen from them so far in the season?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not really sure what to expect from them, honestly, as far as killer wise. However, I'm not sure if you saw who I saw in chat, but was that a nightlight, the one and only, the iconic nightlight in our chat, coming and hanging out with us on this beautiful Friday night? If we've got a nightlight in chat, I just think, for the record, we just might as well go ahead and see a clown play. I mean, might as well, right? For nightlight, I think that sounds fair.
I think that would be reasonable, and it wouldn't be the first time we've seen Clown on this map, actually. I do believe that Clown was brought out on Dead Dog last week.
Yeah, I like, I feel like this is one of the few maps that we will see over the course of the season where Clown makes sense because, of course, it being a smaller map, and then, with the change in his kit, you are able to get, I feel like every time we've seen Clown, at least in Vigo's thus far, we have seen the cigar box, which, obviously you get yourself some very valuable information, especially when you have that added speed as well, whether you're going across the map, pushing on the gens or taking somebody to hook or whatnot. So, I would love to see some Clown. I'm a huge fan. We got to see it in our first matchup, so why not back to back, right?
Yeah, make it a trend for the weekend. And Clown has proven that he, while he might not be one of the top tier killers in comp, he can definitely hold his own and at least secure a couple of points for the team. So if Hookers is feeling confident going into this, it could be a good pick for them that isn't using a top tier pick just yet this early in the season.
Yeah, agreed. We also, another killer that I wouldn't be surprised to see coming out here would be maybe seeing like a demo dog. I think we saw a demo earlier today in the other matchup as well. But
demo earlier today, yeah.
Especially once you do get that ability to get your little bit of setup going. Talking of setup, this also wouldn't be a bad map to maybe even see a hag on. Since it is a little smaller area, you're kind of always closer to your trap. The only downside with the smaller map, is of course, does mean there's a little bit less time to set up, and that's kind of usually what you want as the hag. But I don't know. I feel like we talked about it heading into the first, trial. I like that on this map, really anything is kind of a viable option, right?
Yeah, and as we talked about before, it is a smaller map, so really you don't get punished too much for bringing those 110 killers, because there's not a lot of ground to cover. It's a pretty small map, so even if you are slower, you're not at a disadvantage as you would be on the bigger maps, like one of the Red Forest maps, or even I feel like even Father Campbell's Chapel, like the Curtis Pren maps, are still rather large. Especially compared to Dead Dog. So really a lot of options open up here as we get onto the smaller maps.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see here. I feel like we kind of keep reflecting back to it, but it is only week 3, right? So with it being week 3, I don't think anyone has completely used up a killer. Maybe Arctic Wolves has used up Wraith already, possibly. But other than that, I think
seen Wraith on, yes.
Yeah, but I think other than that, I feel like every team still has all of their killers on the board. Obviously, with it being week 3, a couple of teams have used some killers, but I think only one S tier killer has been used by any team at the most, maybe 2. So again, anything's really on the board, but I don't anticipate Dead Dog being an S tier killer, though we still might see again maybe some of those like next 3 at the top 3 killer come.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a good map for any of the A tiers you have. Again, it's such a small map that it does open up a lot of possibilities. I don't think we're going to see S tiers again in this match or in this week, really, since it is only week 3 and we're kind of entering into like where people have to be a little more picky about what they use and how they use them, because I think I really think the pace for the season has been set. Like we've kind of
Mhm.
seen what everyone is bringing to the table, and of course, everyone's going to improve and experiment with new things as we go on. But I feel like our baseline has been set. So I think now that we've tested the waters, people are going to start being really picky about the killers they bring out, especially as we get closer to the end. They are going to want to save those S tier killers for who they consider to be the harder matches or the games that they really want to and need to win.
Yeah, and I think we saw maybe a couple of S tier killers come out in those first 2 weeks just because a couple of people were trying to get like those first couple wins on the board, right? You try and get a couple of them, but now at this point, you said right, the pace has been set. And I think that's a really good way of putting it because now you are going to want to conserve if you have used one of your S tier. We're going to call it like your 6 S tier picks, right? You 2 of your top 3. At the least, you probably have 5, and you're probably going to want to save most of those for those last like 4 or 5 weeks to make sure you're locking in those playoff spots.
Yeah, I think definitely we're going to not see we're going to see those S tiers more as we get closer to playoffs as well. Definitely agree with you, but I think once we hit playoffs, the killer use is reset, correct?
Yeah, so once the playoffs start, they do reset, which is interesting because then that's when you'll probably start to see, probably a little bit of early S tiers, obviously, to make sure you get into your playoffs a little bit further. But then you kind of start seeing more of like some teams' mains come out, right? Kind of make sure you get through the middle part. And then obviously in the finals, you want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. So.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be exciting to see who gets to that point and what is brought to the table on the road to get there, because I feel like there's a lot of potential for some really interesting things to come out in this season of Vigo's court, because we've already seen, we've seen a Cenobite come out. I don't know if a lot of people were really expecting Cenobite, but we did see a Cenobite come out. We've seen Clown quite a few times. Plague, even though she's not considered a top tier killer, Plague has come out quite a bit, and every time she's come out, it's been a dominating presence. So Pyramid Head has done really well. I'm just really excited to see what our teams are going to offer to us as we continue down this path.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting seeing Pinhead as he's getting, played with more. I feel like we'll probably see him more coming in. We're starting to see a couple more Nemesis. Or is this like a fish thing?
Fish. Oh, is it like moose too? I think it might, maybe. I don't know. What's the root word of nemesis? What is the dialectual root? I don't know, man.
I do see we've got some survivors ready up. Are we good to slide on over and let them be off to the races?
I do believe everybody is ready for us to get on into our spectator spot and get this show on the road.
I love it. We are going to it's worth noting, right? You come out and maybe don't have the exact result you're looking for if you're Immortal Alliance, but now you're coming out on the survivor side on a map where communication is really key. And I think the important thing is watching how the first 2 or 3 minutes go, because if you see a couple mistakes happen, an early down or something like that, and kind of see how the teams respond. Otherwise, we could see a very quick cycle, kind of like we've seen from some other teams thus far in the season.
Absolutely. I think those first couple minutes are definitely crucial to see how the rest of the game is going to go and what you can capitalize on. It does look like we have all of our bloody blueprints and the cut coins. Love to see everybody on top of their shit the way we need them to be. I really appreciate our teams here.
Yeah, I definitely love to see it. So while we're loading in here, we talked about the killer rules. Let's talk about survivors and how they score these points.
You got it. Our survivors can earn points by completing gens at first and second gen are worth 1 point each. The third and fourth are worth 2 points each. And that fifth gen is worth 3 points each. Wow, I cannot talk today. The first escape is 1 point. The second escape is 2 points. But that third escape is worth 4 points, and the fourth escape, a whopping 6 points. So escapes are what's going to be really important here, not just those generators. If you can escape with 2 or more hook states remaining, so you've only been hooked once or not even at all, like we saw in last trial, you get an additional point for every survivor who escapes with that extra hook states available. There are 26 points here that our survivors can earn. For more on rules, type !rules in chat.
Oh, that is worth noting there, right? Like, obviously, Immortal Alliance is now going into the Survivor, back-to-back Survivor sets, and a little bit of a point deficit, meaning that they have less points to be able to capture, try and move on to the next one. We are finally loaded in here, though. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Keep in mind, we are moving to trial number 2 here. We've got Be Orange coming out, and we're actually going to lather, rinse, and repeat from trial number 1. We are going to see the Wraith coming out here. I do like this pick. Again, we talked, or at least I had mentioned about it heading into the first matchup. This is a map where the Wraith actually can really shine on, very much like we saw in trial number 1, actually. So we are going to see an early chase here on the backside of the map. Going to try and see Be Orange, probably going to, I was going to say zone out our survivor here. Instead, though, actually going to apply the first hit. I do like that move. Now going to be moving probably towards the saloon here. Yeah, opting to go towards the saloon. At this point, should be able to get the pallet down right here. This is actually a decently strong pallet. Not exactly the strongest pallet, but Be Orange, I thought was going to go for the zoning and breaking that pallet. Instead, that's going to be a swing and a miss. Allows a little bit of distance to be built here. Now chasing the Nia down. That's going to be a down a little bit more than the 60 seconds into the trial, which does mean that Corrupt Intervention here at this point has about 50 seconds left on it. Our survivors probably spread around, starting to put that pressure down onto these generators here. We do see this generator here at this portion side of the street at about the 30-35% mark. Same thing on this one here on the back side here. Worth noting, though, after that kick, we did see the orange sparks. That is going to be that pop goes the weasel. So even though Be Orange isn't coming in with any sort of help as far as from a ruin to help with regression, Be Orange does have the ability to earn that instant 25% regression with every hook that they happen to get.
Absolutely. And showing that even though the 110 killers don't struggle on this map because it is so small, Wraith and his speed is just going to be absolutely lethal here because he was able to go all the way around the saloon before he caught up to our survivors who hadn't made it very far.
And we did see our survivors there after getting the reset. You did see them both actually touch that generator, which does let Be Orange know if they wanted to, they could pursue a tunnel here, not have to worry about a decisive strike or anything like that. We are going to see Be Orange continuing to take the chase with Techno Badger. Again, keeping in mind Techno Badger was the survivor that went down there early. That's going to be a down here in the middle of the pallet space. Crawling out of the pallet space, though, kind of an interesting scenario and no decisive strike. So that is going to be hook number 2, and that's only with 1 generator complete thus far. And you'll also notice that this generator right here, before the pop kick was going to be able to be applied to it, there was a repressed alliance again coming into play, and actually just in time, because after the pop kick, we do see it getting uncovered, but there is going to be a dry kick here. So that's 2 generators that are going to start regressing a little bit, and would not be surprised to see Be Orange at this point staying in the vicinity and just going for the tunnel out as soon as this unhook comes across.
Absolutely. As we've seen before, that first death is going to change the pace of the game for the survivors. So really important. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Be Orange go ahead and secure the kill and out on Techno Badger here.
Yeah, and kind of actually interesting to see. We do see Be Orange actually kind of took a step away, going for the nice lunge through, getting the hit at the pallet, though. Able to get the change of a health state there. The one thing, though, is since you did leave the hook, you have given Techno Badger a chance to break away from the area, retreat to safety, and then we'll probably start working towards the heal, because we actually see even still at this point, Techno Badger has not gotten that heal. There it is coming across here with the dead heart there, causing just a little bit of an extra time change. Nice bait out there by the Megan. That is going to be generator number 2, though, getting done across the way. That's going to be the first hook here onto Andreas, but that is going to be the 3rd hook altogether. And we're kind of using the same hook on this side of the map, which does allow Be Orange to keep a nice eye on a tight little 3 gen here between the saloon gen and those 2 gens that we have been cycling back and forth kicking.
Absolutely. This could be a very dangerous area for our survivors if they don't get in there and realize that they have a really tight 3 gen there. And like normally this wouldn't be a problem for many killers because it is so small, but with Wraith, he's just going to walk back and forth like it's nothing.
And we do see now here your breaking chase with Techno Badger now coming across back for the unhook. Not surprised at all here because now you can actually make it to where you have 2 survivors here relatively close to being removed from the trial if you were able to secure a down onto the Megan here again, since they were the survivor who was just on the hook. We are going to see the Megan, though, making their way towards the shack. Keep in mind that was a survivor with the dead heart, and that's going to be just enough to be able to make it to the pallet, be able to throw shack pallet and build some more distance while we have generator number 3 getting done across the way. But we are going to see B Orange breaking chase here, coming back, keeping an eye on that 3-gen here, able to retreat to safety to avoid the body burn. Should be able to continue the rest of your, uncloaking here, able to get the M1. Unfortunately, not able to get the body burn was the ace. Now you have taken not only an affected health state, but now you are not going to be able to build much extra distance since this door has already been broken down. Even though the door didn't need to be broken down, that's actually a nice hit through the window. That's going to be a
very
down.
good window hit.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fresh hook here too. That's going to be hook number 4. But can't help but wonder. It's been a while since we've seen the last generator get done. The one far across the way has to be getting relatively close to completion.
However, I don't know if our survivors have noticed that if that's the generator they're going to be working on, they're going to put themselves in a really sticky situation.
Yeah, if they do finish that far off gen on the gallows side there, they are going to put themselves in a very, very tough 3-gen situation. We do see B Orange getting caught up on the cowboy there that was sitting in the chair. A very unfortunate situation, not able to close that distance. We do see a broken status there on a Chicken Pickle who was just on the hook. Not sure if that was a deliverance play there or a whatever the new thing for second wind is. Second chance, I think, is the new perk, however it's called. However, we do see closing in on misery. Renewal, that's the one. So we are going to see here, though, trying to make a play, forcing the pallet down. That should be able to get you Fang. There you go. And that's going to be a down.
I do believe that was a deliverance on Chicken Pickle over there, as the broken status for renewal only lasts 20 seconds.
Yeah, and that is going to be another hook here on the same hook here on this portion of the street. And keep in mind we're pretty close to all 3 of the gens here. And we do hear this one up top though has a decent amount of progress on it. Not a whole bunch, but that pop goes the weasel there is going to knock that down below 50%. Nice play there as far as by B Orange to be able to block off the direction and the path towards the window there for the Megan. Megan now going to see if they can hold aggro here, taking B Orange as far away from not only the hook, but those last generators to be complete as well. This is going to be Megan going down here on the far side, dead hard towards the Z wall. Not going to be able to make anything out of it though. That's going to be an easy pickup for B Orange. There's going to be the unhook across the way as well. That is going to be a important hook in this corner though, because if B Orange is going to be able to get across here and put pressure onto the 3-gen setup, now someone's going to have to be removing themselves from any sort of objective work to get this unhook.
Absolutely, and this is the second survivor who is now on death hook, so we're entering a really dangerous period of time for our survivors here because they're going to need every single one of them that they can get to break this 3-gen if B Orange is able to put down the apply the pressure properly.
Yeah, and we do here now. We've come across this way. There's going to be the ace had the sprint burst. Unfortunately, was not able to build themselves much extra distance. We do see, though, this generator, not even a full piston pumping. After the pop goes the weasel, going to be back to 0% progress. 0% progress with the one the end of the street as well. And it actually looks like we still have sparks coming from that generator up on the saloon. So B Orange doing a very good job as far as in the middle portion of the trial here. We do see a big group of people going for a reset back here, but kind of like I had mentioned, keep in mind all these people all the way back here for this reset does mean that there is absolutely 0 gen work getting done. And this is going to be the thing. Oh, unfortunately going to be a short swing instead of a lunge. Now the Megan taking the hit, everybody now injured. Got to be playing things careful because you do have the ability to allow a little bit of a snowball with everyone being hurt here.
Absolutely. This is really, really dangerous. It just takes one wrong down, one wrong move for it to be all over here. So our survivors are gonna have to play very carefully to ensure they don't put themselves in a really bad position. And we do see they get the reset off on Misery.
And that's going to be tough there because that is a down. I do believe that should spell a GG for Techno Badger if they are able to pick them up here, because I think Techno Badger was the one who did go on to second stage in the very early part of the game there. So that is going to make this a 3v1. And we did talk about heading into this matchup how this is a map that has a lower hook count. You are using a hook that is relatively far away from your 3-gen setup, which is going to be nice for you for these next successive downs that you get here.
Absolutely. It means he's going to have all of his hooks over by these 3-gens available, so he can not only watch whoever is hooked if they are not already on Death Hook, he is also able to watch those gens.
And just seeing a very, very impressive performance from B-Orange here. I mean, that's going to be another down. You are going to be able to put him, that survivor back here in this portion. That is a second hook for Misery here. And now what you're going to see is B-Orange checking these 2 generators here. Very minimal progress on those 2. Trying to keep an ear out for this one up here on the top. It doesn't sound like there's too much progress on this one here either. You were able to use your body to protect your the little drop down area there from Megan. So you were able to get the health state change there. Also now, after applying the kick onto this topmost gen, that is the gen that by far has the most progress, and he just regressed it back 25% instantly. Now we are going to see taking chase with the only survivor that is fully healthy. That is going to be a health state change there as well. So our survivors here definitely feeling the pressure. We are going to see B-Orange now going to go back to the top of our saloon here. It is actually finding Megan on the backside here, not going to have anywhere to go. Megan using the Dead Hard into a rock, not going to be what you want to do with the Dead Hard, not getting the full distance. And I do believe that is also going to be another elimination here as well.
Absolutely. With Andreas going up on the hook, that is another elimination. It is now a 2v1 with our survivors in a very dangerous position. Again, B-Orange was really good about protecting this 3-gen in the beginning, and all of that patience has paid off.
Yeah. And keep in mind, right, like our survivors for the hookers, they were able to get a fresh out. And you do not have that potential if you are Immortal Alliance here. Right now, if you're Immortal Alliance, you're just hoping you can get all of the generators done. Because, of course, that last generator does yield you the most points. We are going to see a nice moonwalk not able to get the hit. We are going to see the vault across. I am assuming that was probably a Lithe play, was trying to bait out the hit there. Able to build distance here into the corner of the map. And with a decent run here in the back, with there still being a couple of resources back here. We have the one resource that we're right next to. We also have a resource here next to the double rocks, as well as on the front side of that building here as well. So Fang might be able to buy Chicken Pickle just enough time to get those very valuable 3 points, as well as buy enough time for them to maybe make a play at the doors here.
Absolutely, but B-Orange is on top of it. He's like, I'm not going to play with you back here for a little too long. I've got a 3-gen to protect, ma'am. So he's definitely going to come back, check out what's going on with his generators over here. And we do see a little bit of progress, but it's really not a lot.
Yeah, not much at all. We are going to see a dry kick coming onto that back corner gen. We're not hearing too much progress as far as the generator up on the saloon. So at this point, B-Orange, I do believe, is trying to locate the reset location. We have been able to locate the ace, and that is going to be a very nice play around the water tower there in order to secure the down. And now, at this point, we are going to see the slug coming out, because you might as well, if you're going to be a bear, you might as well be a grizzly going for the 4K back here. We have now retreated all the way back to the corner. We are seeing Fang, I think, probably just seeing if maybe they can get Chicken Pickle to either make a play to where the hatch is going to be, or just trying to crawl away. However, B-Orange does seem to be on top of that. We'll probably be trying to cut off our survivor here, put them up on a hook, and then be going to our hatch be trying to make a play for hatch, close that thing up, and wrap this game up here, or wrap up this trial, I should say, as well.
Absolutely, and we are looking for that survivor now. I believe that is all seeing, giving him the ability to find that down survivor there very easily. So slugging, not really an issue if you bring the right add-ons for Wraith here.
Yeah, we are seeing, we talked about heading into the matchup how this could be a map where the Wraith can really excel. And I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in chat, but that does indeed. Oh, I shouldn't speak just quite yet, actually. But this should be wrapping up a 4K here. Wow, this slug is really, where'd the slug go? Hello? But we are going to see, as long as we wrap up, I was gonna say, this is going to be a 4K right here. That's going to be a total of 7 kills. We're talking about 21 hooks from 2 Wraiths in competitive DBD. I mean, that's just talking about like the ability of Wraith on this map in particular, right?
Absolutely. And coming out and showing that even though Wraith had a little bit of a nerf there, it's not going to hold him down too much because that was 2 very brutal back-to-back Wraith games. And B Orange is going to secure that 4K for his team.
Yeah, and we are going to see with B Orange here the other thing. Not only do you get the 4K, which is one more obviously elimination than we saw Immortals be able to get, but you also were able to prevent the escapes, which is extra points that you basically earned by preventing, right? As far as when you talk about the overall score here. So coming out as far as a pretty good net positive, 23 to 40 after essentially set number 1, right? Trial number 2, and definitely gotta be feeling good for yourself as far as for Immortal Alliance here, right?
Absolutely. This is going to be a tough game to go into on this next one for Immortal Alliance here.
And I don't know. What do you think here? Now with Hookers sitting at a 17-point lead, do you think anything changes as far as like strategy from your killer now that you have a little bit of lead going into trial 3? You are coming back out on the killer. Do you think they probably had already kind of a more M1 style killer lined up? And if not, do you think they switched to an M1 style killer with that lead?
I don't know if Hookers want to get too comfortable here, as we are only halfway through the trial. Anything can happen. There is one more Survivor game and one more killer game on the table for both of these teams. So I think it's a little too early. I mean, it is quite a substantial lead, and Immortal Alliance is going to need to put in a lot of work to catch up here. But I mean, I don't know. If I was Hookers, I wouldn't get too comfortable just yet with this score discrepancy, because we have seen comebacks before with the way that this league works.
Yeah, and I don't know. Things are tough here because I feel like you have the option if you really want. Well, I shouldn't say if you really want, but if you have another really strong performance, you can basically solidify it to where all your survivors need to do is basically complete like 4 gens. If my math is right, as far as where they're sitting right now, if they kind of have a maybe not enough 4K in this trial, but another very strong performance. Again, keep in mind this map being one where it is smaller, so it's a little bit easier for the killer to output that pressure.
Absolutely. I think this is, again, while I don't think Hookers will be taking it too easy here, I do think they can be a little bit more relaxed on their game plan, because the win condition as it stands right now, even though we aren't, of course, at our tipping point for that yet, their quote-unquote win condition to keep this lead is not so restrictive on them. So I do think we're going to see them sit a little bit back on the gas pedal a little bit and kind of just coast through where they are right now.
So with us being at the midway point, we have seen both of our teams play both a killer and a survivor trial. Let's go ahead and review the map that we are playing on in case we have anybody who happened to miss it before trial number 1.
You got it. We are on my favorite map, Dead Dog Saloon, home of our lovely team, the Hookers. It is a 6 hook minimum and 11 hook maximum. It is an incredibly small map, so we're not going to be really limited by killers here. 110s do not have a hard time with this map because it is so small. Although you do have to be careful with your hooks there, because if we had seen deaths on those hooks in that 3-gen there, this game might have gone differently. So killers definitely have to be wary of hook economy as it stands.
definitely very much agreed. Hook economy being a very big thing, and we had kind of also talked about that in our earlier matchup today too, because Father Campbell's Chapel has something similar with a smaller hook count, but this map as well, and we haven't really seen it come out to be into play yet as far as in this matchup. We a little bit, but not too much, but definitely something that you're going to want to keep in mind. I mean, we did see in that last trial, we did happen to get lucky. I shouldn't say get lucky, but we did happen to have the down that was away from your 3-gen setup for a final down, so you were able to use a hook that was quite far away from any sort of doors or anything like that as well. So you did see that happen, but didn't see too much strategy revolving around the hooks just quite yet.
Yeah, not really something that came into play these last two matches, especially because our survivors kind of did a good job of pulling. I mean, they had to pull the killer away from their gens, so that kind of worked out in the benefit for our Wraith as well. But I'm definitely interested to see, now that we've seen 2 Wraiths, I wonder what comes out now at this point in Game 3. What are you thinking, Hugh? What are you hoping to see here?
You know, that's a good question. And what am I hoping to see? I've been really enjoying watching Plague since the change. However, we're talking about a smaller map. If we're wanting to bring out killers that make better sense on a small map like this, I'm thinking maybe we see a Legion.
I think Legion would be I'm biased, but Legion would be my favorite pick to see here because this is a very small map, so they can get a lot of value out of their power, which is information, which we have seen is vital. We saw it in the All-Seeing in that last game. We saw it in our clown game earlier with the cigar box, but I do believe we can find out what they're going to bring because it looks like everybody might be ready here.
I'm excited. You know, we talked about that. We're at halftime, and even though I think a lot of sporting events generally see that the halftime has a longer break, it looks like both our survivors and our killers here, both are anxious here. So let's go ahead and make sure that we do have all of our offerings and everything. Make sure everything is, up to par, right? All the I's are crossed and all the T's are dotted here. And then we'll go ahead and move into trial number 3. We're going to see Bloodied Blueprint 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to see a cut coin. How about we talk about some ban rules, shall we?
Let's do it. Guys, did you know we have a couple things banned in Vigo's court around here for the health of the game? But let's talk about what those are. So yellow items and add-ons are the only thing allowed, yellow items and below. Only one of each perk and item, except for BT. You can have 2 of those. Go ahead and save your friends from those hooks, right? We have banned perks as well on both sides. You're not going to see both class Prove Thyself or Starstruck 2 OP. Haunted Ground, Lethal Pursuer, Boons, and Clairvoyance are also not allowed. We don't want to see that here at all. Killers used are limited to twice a season, so, we might get to see 1 more Wraith from these guys, but after that, it's done. Survivors are also limited to 1 character per team. Sorry, 4 Twice 1 Locker, we love you. You can only have 1. Violations are subject to penalties. For more on rules, go ahead and type !rules in chat.
And we are still looking at a loading screen here, but again, we are looking at trial number 3. We are looking at a little bit of a lead here for hookers. They are on their home field. We are now loaded in. Let's go ahead and get ready for it, chat. And we are going to see something different. We're not going to see a Wraith, but how about we see a Freddy Krueger? How are you feeling about that?
I like seeing Freddy out on the field. I think he's not very strong, but I think he is, what's the word I'm looking for? Underestimated.
Yeah, I like the ability of Freddy. Of course, has the ability to teleport, get some extra pressure quickly across the map. We do have, 4 mystery perks here. We don't even have a corrupt intervention worth mentioning here, which is kind of interesting because typically in a competitive scene, we do see that the last thing you want to do is give the survivors access to all of the generators right away. So maybe showing quite a bit of confidence here is B Orange, but that is going to be a very quick down. B Orange also going to be breaking down the little portion of this wall here, breaking down the TNL area, making this a little bit less effective of an area for our survivors to use later on. We are going to see, though, with the pickup, we are going to see that thrilling Trevor's which is going to give our killer a little bit of information here as far as where to go with that teleport. I do like that there, as far as being able to give yourself that information. Now be orange now pushing back into this corner, and even though you didn't get pressure right on the person who was up on the gallows, you have now pushed people off of 2 separate generators. You have also been able to get a health state change onto your ace here as well. So a lot of pressure coming from the early portion of the trial thus far from Be Orange. But keep in mind, from our survivor side, we have yet to see a generator, and that's because our survivor's been spreading that pressure. So definitely need to see Be Orange continue to keep this thing up if he wants to walk away with quite a few eliminations.
Absolutely. Survivors are definitely putting down a lot of gen pressure here. They're all definitely not staying in the same area as one another. So you can imagine probably going to see a few gens pop at the same time as long as they can keep the killer distracted here.
Yeah, there's going to be generator number 1 getting complete. That's also while we happened to see another down coming in, the down here on to Techno Badger. We're also going to be seeing a reset coming in across the way, across the way too. So now at this point, you have gotten 2 hooks. They are 2 fresh hooks, so you don't have anybody that's close to being tunneled out just quite yet, but you do have 2 separate people 1 step closer to elimination as well. So Be Orange here, again, keeping in mind with Freddy here, you do have the ability to do exactly what we're seeing here, use the teleportation. This time though, Be Orange actually going for the fake. I do like that play here. We are also going to see with that kick, we're going to notice those orange sparks. That is going to be that pop goes the weasel. So Be Orange does have that ability to continue with some of your regression as long as you continue to maintain stacking up these hook states here. We're also going to see that unhook coming in across the way. Shack pallet getting used. We're seeing Be Orange getting rid of a lot of resources early.
Absolutely. And as we talked about before, this is a smaller map with not a lot of resources and key points. So once those are gone, it's going to get really tricky for our survivors to stay on their feet.
Yeah, and that's going to... Ooh, nice dead hard there, actually, from the
Very
Meg.
nicely timed.
Yeah, even though it doesn't buy you too much extra time, it did buy you a little bit of time. You're also going to see that Eruption procs here. We can now talk about that. Eruption, kind of an interesting perk here. I like the idea, obviously, since you are going to be teleporting to gens. Obviously, you're also going to be kicking gens with that pop goes the weasel. So kind of earning some additional regression on those gens as well. Going to see the hit coming across onto Techno Badger there here too. Right now at this point, Be Orange, 3 hook states for only 1 generator being complete thus far. Definitely got to be feeling good for your team if you are the hookers, feeling like you're sitting on waiting to be coming out here for trial number 4 on the survivor side. And if Be Orange can keep this thing going, you only are going to have to complete a couple of generators.
Absolutely. And I do want to point out that we noticed there was no corrupt earlier, but this build is really tailored towards information that caters to Freddy's power.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? Because every time you get the down, after you get the kicks coming in, you're going to see the eruption. Also, too, you're going to be able to see the explosions after you're down as well if you happen to get the proxies from that jolt there, which used to be Surge. We are going to see, ooh, a down here onto Techno Badger, and you talked about that information. We do see people were working on both of those gens there, which means you have a little bit of information, or sorry, you have just the one in the back that was being worked on. But that is instant regression on both of those gens there. And when you get to combine that with another pop goes the weasel kick in this corner, you're talking about Be Orange just really being able to prevent a lot of work getting done. We're talking about just this one generator. This thing's been worked on enough to be complete, I think, twice or maybe even 3 times over now.
Absolutely, but that's pop goes the weasel for you. The nature of the beast is that it's going to be really nasty. If they can't focus that gen up, maybe even double up on it, he's going to keep knocking it down.
Especially because every time you go over there, right, not only are you getting that 25% regression from the pop goes the weasel, but we talked about that eruption, and you are going to get the extra percentage from there as well. You are able to get another down onto the Megan here. You're going to be able to face the wall. No worry as far as any firecrackers or any sort of flashlights here or anything like that. With another hook being so close to that back gen, would not be surprised to see Be Orange go back to that back corner. Instead, though, you do see Be Orange being able to locate some scratch marks here. Now going to actually continue to track these scratch marks down. I think this is the point where you're going to see Be Orange try and make a very educated decision with this pop goes the weasel. Now coming over to this portion, notices a decent amount of progress. However, don't know if Be Orange breaks away from this chase. Nope, we do actually see Be Orange breaking away here. I do like this, again, spreading that pressure, knowing you put a lot of regression on the generator across the way, and that's going to be a Freddy lunge for you with the nice hit and another little bit of regression coming from that eruption there as well on another generator.
Absolutely brutal gameplay from our Freddy here. And I do want to point out, not only does Eruption give information and regression, it also renders the survivors unable to work on that generator for a little bit. Well, to work on anything in general because they are incapacitated.
Yeah, and work on anything is interesting, right? Because maybe you have survivors who aren't trying to give away a heal location, so maybe you aren't able to heal now as well, right? Or maybe you have somebody 99 because you're trying to get resilience value, and now you can't heal now as well. But the other thing that we keep talking to, and I can't help but keep pointing out, is the regression, because when you pair it with the Pop Goes the Weasel you're seeing here, you get just so much help. And now we are going to see generator number 2 coming in, but again, that's only generator number 2. We see BOrange keeping up a lot of pressure. A nice cutoff there, going up and over and through the woods to grandmother's house. We go for the hit there, and that's going to be now just following the Fang to the backside of the map here. Should be able to secure it because this is a very unsafe pallet. That is going to be a down. I think Misery, I know for sure, has been hooked once. Not sure if they've been hooked twice. Not sure if this is an elimination hook or not. But, you know, we're talking about, oh, that is an elimination hook. Look at this, chat. This is a 2v1 at this point, and there have been only 2 generators complete. Talk about pressure from BOrange.
Absolutely brutal. And it looks like actually we might be having some issues here with ping on our survivor side. Give me one moment to just confirm what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to keep in mind too, sometimes, of course, I feel like any sort of minute ping difference does happen to get exacerbated by Freddy's notoriously long lunge as well. So we'll take a look onto that into the background, but that is going to be the last fresh hook there onto Chicken Pickle, which is worth mentioning because with that being the fresh hook, that does give us the information knowing that the last survivor that is in this trial here is on their death hook with only 1 health state between them and being on the ground ready to be sacrificed. We do see the deliverance play here though. That is going to buy our Megan some time to possibly get a 3rd generator. Those of course would be 2 additional points there, which would be some extra costly points, knowing that obviously you're going to be moving into the killer side for trial number 4 where you can get the most amount of points here, and knowing that you're also at a little bit of deficit, you want to want every point that you can get. We're going to continue this chase though over here, and that's going to be a nice mind game play down over here on this side. As another down on a Chicken Pickle. The one thing you can't help but ask yourself though is with Chicken Pickle going down or getting the deliverance, yeah, getting slaps them with the D, a very common duo there being the deliverance decisive strike play. So after being able to do the decisive strike play, giving a little bit of distance, but not too much here, and that is going to make it a very easy option for BOrange to continue to go for the tunnel. Don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say, don't think Ace is gonna be able to make it to this window, even with the lunge. Oh, actually not quite able to get the hit there. And actually, you can hear if you listen close enough, chat. While we're in this chase, it does sound like the saloon gen that's getting worked on, and it is actually getting quite close to completion. There it is, actually, generator number 3 coming in. That's also going to be plus 10 wood to the face there by Ace. A little bit of a hesitation going up the stairs, though, I do believe should allow the distance to be closed for BOrange here to get another window made there, and should also make it to this pallet space as well. Unfortunately, though, that is not going to be able to get to the pallet space. That is going to be a down, and now that you have already had the D strike play there, and unfortunately you happen to catch Meg, who was sitting there, instead of being the deer in headlights, was actually the deer hoping to catch you in the headlights with the flashlight, and instead this is now going to be Megan going down in the TNL wall. And now, as long as you secure your 2 slugs, this is going to be a 4K. This is going to be an early decision. Of course, we're going to play out trial number 4. Of course, that is making sure everything on the back still looks good. Of course, we did have those address the concerns as far as the ping that is being looked into on the backside here. But there is hook number 2 for Chicken Pickle here, and now B Orange coming over to the TNL area, just going to be securing this slug over here. Should be relatively easy because that is not a very quiet survivor. And chat, I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me.
Looks like we are still working working on some tech issues on the back end. So please be patient with us as we take care of that.
Definitely a very solid performance there. Hookers continuing to expand their lead. And, one thing that's worth bringing up there with that very impressive performance, looking at B Orange's perk build here, we talked about it, a lack of corrupt intervention. We talk about it often, how corrupt intervention is really kind of a staple, right? In the competitive scene, because you don't want to give a team all of that, you don't want to give them access to all of the generators itself. And there actually we saw, even with that, just the combo of eruption and pop just really seemed to be very, very strong.
Absolutely. Definitely proving that meta is meta, but you don't have to abide by it, especially if you know how to tailor a build to work to your strengths as a killer.
And, now we're talking about going into a fourth set. If anybody does have any questions as far as what's being looked into, they are still addressing that on the back end, making everything good there. But there are rules as far as in place to address concerns and things. That was why we brought it up there as well, to let everyone know that we were looking there. So, at this point, I think, definitely worth mentioning. We have seen both of these teams, and we talked about it heading into the matchup. I feel like every time we see the Hookers come out, they just seem to be making improvements. And I really feel like when you look at how they looked the last time we saw out, it's almost, I don't want to say it's like a night and day difference. I don't want that to seem like they were not in a good spot like last time we saw them. But man, so many improvements on both sides here from Hookers here.
Absolutely. You can definitely see that the teams have definitely been putting in the work. They have definitely been improving over the course of just the first couple of weeks here, especially as they are seeing each other play. My apologies. I'm still working on some tech issues on the back end here, guys. But yeah, definitely Hookers coming out really strong, and showing that they are putting in the hard work to try to earn a place in our playoffs here.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, if I am not mistaken, and maybe you can help me remember this, I do believe Hookers was another replacement team. I think they came in halfway through the preseason tournament or after the preseason tournament.
I believe so, yes.
But they were definitely one of our later additions. We do know that it is a team that is still relatively new to the competitive scene. So kind of like we have seen with Arctic Wolves in the early part, kind of seeing a coming out party, maybe seeing a little bit here in the early start of the season from Hookers as well, really kind of starting to come into their own here as a competitive team. But,
yes, definitely making leaps and bounds to prove that they came here, even though they kind of joined a little late. They are taking this as seriously as they can, and are really trying to prove that they do belong in this league, and they've done a great job at it so far. I mean, they have always given us very good gameplay.
So at this point, again, keep in mind we did make some rule changes here in the relatively recent past. So even though we are looking at a position where there is a decision here already, we are going to play out trial number 4. And I think that is worth mentioning for a couple reasons. One, I can say, as someone who has spent a lot of time in the last couple months over in DBE, we sometimes see in these last trials, even though there is a decision, these are where you can see teams getting in very important reps and working on new strategies and some live reps and things here, right? But also, this is the point here where that we made the rule too. That way, everyone is making sure that every time a team happens to go into a matchup for a week, both teams have to choose 2 different killers to use, since you can only use a killer 2 times throughout the course of the season.
And the reason we do play this 4th game out is to keep those eliminations consistent, because even if this is a loss, and even if we weren't going to play this 4th game out, they still have to choose a killer to quote unquote burn. So might as well just let them play the game. It's a valuable playtime for everyone. And a good learning experience either way.
Now we do see that we have gotten Sir Goosington, so it does look like we maybe have a new killer possibly setting up here than we saw last time. I do believe it was Techno Badger. I think we saw a kill in the first round for Immortal Alliance.
We did see Techno Badger kill first. He came out with that Wraith in the first game that we played today. So this is definitely a new kill that we are seeing for Immortal Alliance today. Very excited to see what they're going to pull out.
Yeah, I like this idea here, especially if this is maybe them giving another killer an option to get some live reps here, with it being this is just me making an assumption, because the name does not look familiar to me. It's not a killer that I recognize from previous matchups for them, which can be really, really good for them here. But now we're just going to be needing our Survivor Squad to join on up in here and get things rolling. That way we can get a 4th and final trial and move on and get ready to wrap up our Friday night.
Just finishing up some technical issues on the back end here, guys. But yeah, I'm excited to see, like I said before, even if the match is set at game 3, game 4 is still a very valuable game to play out, not just because of statistic wise, where we have our 2 killer rule, so they're going to have to burn a killer anyways, but this is valuable play time for everyone. Because every game that you play is an important game, is always an opportunity to learn. So this could be a newer or younger killer that we see for younger to the comp scene that we see for Immortal Alliance here.
Yeah, and also while we're getting ready to load up here, and I know we have had some concerns as far as ping and whatnot. As far as the last game, one thing to remind not only our competitors in this matchup, but really just our competitors in the league, any sorts of concerns or things are definitely going to be listened to, but if we could maybe keep them out of the chat and maybe keep them as far as in the Discord with the people who make those decisions, that way we can just kind of keep the chat for the entertainment of the people watching and make the important decisions that are discussions that should probably be being had behind closed doors. Keep those behind closed doors.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys need to have any discussions with anyone, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here for you, but let's keep chat positive and focused on our gameplay here. Because we're here to take care of the hard stuff so that you guys can just enjoy yourselves, vibe with the weekend. Enjoy all the post-Thanksgiving food. Speaking of, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, by the way. I didn't get to say it earlier. But
for those of you who are watching who happen to be stateside, or even if you are abroad but happen to celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you guys had a good time with your family. Even if you don't watch football or anything, hopefully just some good time around with the family watching whatever it is you guys do, whether it's the parade or whatnot. Obviously I know a lot of people have different festivities, traditions, but hopefully there's plenty of good food and good time and a lot of family cheer. Definitely know, as far as in the Q household, we had a lot to be thankful for. So.
Sorry guys, I am real quick fixing our scores here. My forehead is really itchy because I wear a beanie all the time. But there we go. Yeah, we are cleaning up some stuff on the back end here and getting ready to move into match 4 here, which will be an exhibition match at this point.
Yeah, we are going to have everyone moving in, of course. Again, keep in mind these 4 trials here, though, they are still important because it does, one, give our competitors some extra live, this like the whole experience. You're actually live in front of an audience, so you do have eyes on you. You have, I think, for some people, that extra nerves kind of kick in. So this is kind of like a full, you get to practice how you play sort of deal, right? Not only that, but it's very important that our teams keep things very even across the board. Everyone has the same amount of killers used throughout the season and stuff like that. So at this point, probably just have everyone finalizing some builds. I do believe there is a new survivor in for our survivor squad as well. So we do see both teams, I think, kind of taking the exhibition game here to it the full advantage and giving some new people some extra reps. So you'd love to see it.
Definitely excited to see these newer players have a chance to come out and really test their mettle in a match and see what exactly is going on here with both these teams. A good opportunity for people to get some playtime in.
Yeah, now we are going to, I can't help but wonder here. You are bringing in a different killer. I doubt you see an S tier here, but maybe this is where you see somebody who has a main for a different M1 killer that you want to get some rep on. Again, keeping in mind that this is a map where M1 killers kind of make more sense, right?
Yeah, I think an M1 killer, because this is a smaller map and because this is an exhibition map, it could be a good opportunity to test a killer that you have been working on but aren't quite sure about. This is a good place to try those things out.
I would love to see like a pinhead here, just because you're talking about being able to practice, practice different things, right?
Definitely, you get to pull out some new things. I kind of want to see some fun builds from our survivors.
We do see our survivors, though, starting to ready up. Are we good to slide on over and get these guys, let them know they're good to continue ready up here as well?
1 second.
No worries.
I think we are. Survivors are ready. They are. Let me make sure they've got everyone in there. Yeah, it looks like they're already here. So.
All right, I will let them know in chat that they are good to go here. It's interesting. I talked about I would like to see the Cenobite. It's been fun watching as the Cenobite gets more and more introduced into the competitive scene. We've seen it come out a little bit here. But I do know from even watching a little bit of it in DBD, actually. In DBE today, seeing the Cenobite come out. I like with the configuration, it adds like a whole extra objective and a whole nother thing for the team to have to keep track of during the course of the trial, keeping track of how much time's left on the box, where's the box. It's also really fun watching the killers, because as the killers seem to learn where the box spawns are, it just really flexes the information and how much information they're processing. The back of their mind is, well, why do I have a red forest offering, Bert?
Well, that's unfortunate. With a wrong offering there.
So hopefully we can at least, I would imagine that our survivors, will probably notice that, and hopefully they'll just be able to quickly back out here. Kind of an interesting situation, because I don't see why anyone would want to go from a nice, small, survivor-friendly map like like Dead Dog to go to a red forest map. So very unfortunate. Maybe there might have just been a little bit of a situation where that might have just been what they had kind of set up for the last time they played whatever killer they're playing in public matches here. But keep in mind here, that does mean that you're now going to give away your build and everything.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm fixing all this stuff.
So we are going to see, it was actually going to be an Oni-chan coming out, so that is now
we are going to I think we are going to reset here real quick.
yeah,
Sorry about the hold up, you guys.
it says the pubs glitch. That is unfortunate. But yeah, so we'll see everything getting switched here. We do see where people are talking about where it switches to your pub killer. I don't think that's going to be anything as far as a disqualification or anything, but we'll definitely want to check as far as in the background here. Give us just 1 second, chat. We're gonna go to a quick be right back scene so I can have a quick discussion in the background so we can figure out what we're going to do about it.
We'll be right back.
All right, chat. And I do apologize about the delay here. We just wanted to confirm some things in the background here. So it's basically a no fault restart because it is a known issue going on here. So we wanted to make sure as far as in the background because make sure that we were going to be allowing a change of a killer and everything because, you know, obviously it was a bug and thing. So we are going to be seeing everybody getting ready to load back in here. Do keep in mind, chat, of course, with this being a competitive scene, everybody who is working in the background and everything, they are a bunch of volunteers. So do want to say shout out to them for taking the time on this beautiful Friday to help us out, put things together here, and make sure that we've got the fun event that we do get to see, which is Vigo's Court, that gets put together every week. So big shout out to everybody that's working and volunteering along in the background. But we do see everybody has readied up here. We're also seeing some fun and festive outfits. I love it here for trial number 4, as this decision has already been made heading into trial number 4. So we're gonna make sure we've got all of our offerings here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bloodied blueprint. We've got a cut coin as well. We've talked about how killers and survivors score points, as well as ban rules. How about we talk about some penalty rules, shall we?
Let's talk about those penalty rules. So we talked about what could get you penalties. Well, let's talk about what happens with matches with penalties. They may be played out, they could be restarted, or both. Could be both. Why not both? If you have 2 of the same survivor, that is a penalty. A banned perk, item, or add-on is also a penalty. It will be -5 points, as well as a possible restart if it so bothers everyone playing. The wrong map will be a -5 points and an auto restart. Harassing the ref, bringing players on the roster, please don't do that, because that is -10 points per offense and no restart. Using an exhausted killer will also be -10, but you will restart the game from there, and delaying the game is -1 point for every minute past the first 5 minutes that you keep us waiting. For more on rules, please type !rules in chat.
And do keep in mind, we are getting ready for trial number 4. This will be our last matchup as far as for today, not only just for this matchup, but for Vigo's Court as a whole. We are now officially in. Let's go ahead and load on in here. Sir Goosington out here on this map, and we are going to see my humongous humorous friend. We're going to see the clown out here. We are going to see that very common. I feel like this has become a common add-on duo here that we're seeing on the clown here, with the gin bottle as well as the cigar box. Of course, that cigar box gives you some extra info as far as those aura readings while you're in the area. And then, of course, you do have the extra bottles as well from the gin bottle there. So we are going to see Sir Goosington moving along the corrupt side of the map, trying to locate those survivors relatively early here, still using the yellow gas there, the speed up juice, you might say, to try and not only move around the map, but again, also gives you those aura readings as well. Doing a good job locating the Kate here relatively early. We are on Kate Cook TTV. Kate should be able to make it to this window here, though. Going to make it towards the middle building. Keep in mind, this is a relatively big loop. Sir Goosington had not been able to come over here and open things up as far as the broken walls like we have seen other survivors do here in the past. Oh, with the stun, with the head-on play. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. Now moving towards the opposite side, and that's actually the head-on play there from the ace, and that's going to be extra time given to our survivors here to try and continue to crank out these generators itself. It's been about 90 seconds since we've logged into the trial here. Do keep in mind, it does take 80 seconds for a single survivor to continue or to complete a gen. So that's generator number 1 getting done across the way. Would not be surprised to see another generator getting done here relatively soon. We did notice that that generator up top in the saloon had quite a bit of progress when we happened to run by it. That is going to be hook number 1, as long as Sir Goosington is going to be able to secure up the slug here, but you were able to also locate the Kate, so you now have 2 survivors on the ground. This would actually be a lot of pressure for Sir Goosington in the beginning part of the trial if you secure both hooks for only 1 generator being done.
Absolutely. This is huge for Sir Goosington here. Good use of his bottles to get both of those survivors down. And even though Tej got that head-on play, only bought them a little bit of time, but they do get Tej up on his feet.
Yeah, and we do see it looks like Sir Goosington was trying to throw those bottles as if they were throwing the regular tonic bottles, and instead it was actually the yellow smoke, which does not slow down the survivors, and it actually takes a little bit of time before they give you yourself the boost as well here. So we do see at this point leaving T on the ground, trying to go for a little bit of additional pressure here. Not sure if Sir Goosington saw that little bit of movement in the background. I think we actually have a survivor in on the first floor of our saloon here. We do see the scratch marks coming in, or I should say, yeah, into the saloon from the backside there. Not surprised to see Sir Goosington at this point use this little bit of pressure to secure a second hook state, knowing that as the survivors are stepping off of those gens to come for the survivor that was slugged as well as move in for the save here, they're getting off of those gens while the gens start regressing at 200% thanks to that ruin.
Definitely Ruin doing some work here for our killer, as well as he got that secured second stage.
Yeah, we are going to see that second stage is going to be pretty big there. Also avoiding the plus 10 wood to the face there, trying to be thrown there by T. Now at this point going to be going up here towards the actual generator that was being worked on at the gallows. Now going to be able to apply one early hit here onto B Orange. Keep in mind, Kate Cook still over there on the back side of the saloon, hanging up on a hook itself. And now at this point, we're going to see Sir Goosington doubling back on that hook, knowing that somebody had to be coming in for the save. There is Kate itself running up to the top there. Don't think you're going to be able to build too much distance. And we did see a little bit of a hesitation, maybe expecting to see a head on there. Basically, at this point, trying to finish out the count out of that borrowed time, if there is indeed borrowed time. The other question as well is, does Kate have the decisive strike? No decisive strike. That is going to be Kate being removed from the trial with only one generator complete. Sir Goosington has showed up to play today.
Absolutely. Glad to see him treating this like a serious match, even though we know that game 3 set the game for these teams. However, we love to see the gameplay on both sides here.
And we do see now Sir Goosington opting to go for the one survivor that is still left in the trial at this point that is not injured. And now you have every survivor that is currently alive. They're all one injured state or one health state away from being down on the ground. So definitely a good spot here for Sir Goosington. Again, with the people being injured, they're going to be playing a little bit more timid, probably going to be more likely falling off of those gens a little bit quicker when they do hear the heartbeat coming around. We do hear people working on that generator up here in the saloon as well. We're going to see Sir Goosington try and throw that yellow smoke, actually doing a very good job making it so they're going to be able to get that little bit of speed boost around the saloon itself. However, you will notice that we do not see any sort of more blood or anything. That does mean our survivor has probably dropped down, and you're hearing a lot of progress on this gen as well. Are they going to be able to get it done? The answer is no, and now we're seeing a little bit of the mind games on the top of the gallows as well.
Playing some chicken on that gallows vault there. I actually didn't know that was a vault point until recently.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those hidden secrets, you know, that sometimes it's weird because once you see it, you definitely can't unsee it. But it's definitely also kind of hidden right there in the corner a little bit there as well. We are going to see B Orange, though, going down just outside of Shack. Also, keep in mind that we were traversing the ground on the backside of the saloon earlier, and we did not see a basement, which does mean the basement is right here in Shack. Up onto the hook we go, and that is going to be hook number 1 for B Orange there.
Definitely earning those hooks here. Our killer's putting down the work to put down a lot of pressure. 3 gens have been completed, however, making that one the 4th.
Yeah, and we'll also notice as Sir Goosington looks around here, they did a really good job as well as with their generator spread, right? We have one gen far back behind the gallows that is still up, as well as the 2 across the street from the saloon. So Sir Goosington is going to have to make some decisions here as far as where they want to put some pressure. But at least right now, you do have a survivor in the basement, giving the survivors a secondary objective of saving their friends. We are going to see a play here. Ooh, able to at least enter the Claudette before the window. But now we are still back at the point where we have everybody in the trial that is alive, is injured. We do see the Orange getting picked up out of the locker. Slapped him with the D, though. That's going to be some more distance built that should allow our survivors to at least retreat away. Keep in mind, it's been a little while since we have seen Tijuana, so wouldn't be surprised if they are just holding M1, hitting some skill checks, and maybe seeing generator number 5 getting complete relatively soon.
Absolutely. Lots of pressure from our survivors here onto our killer as he chases through the saloon, but that is going to be a juicy down on B Orange here.
Yeah, and of course, B Orange has already used the decisive strike, so that does let Sir Goosington know that they are free to tunnel out not only B Orange, but any other survivor at this point here. So one thing to keep in mind though, we have one survivor that has already been removed. We have B Orange on second hook state, and you'll notice down there in the bottom left-hand corner, that's a total of 5 hook states. That does mean that both of these two survivors that we're looking at here have a little bit of life left in them as long as they play things right here. However, worth noticing, as Sir Goosington came over here, not a lot of progress on any of these gens.
Yeah, definitely not enough pressure being put down on these gens. And slugging Claudette here to go check out what's going on with Zarina doesn't look like it's much.
No, it's not going to be much, but using the yellow smoke here is going to give you some valuable information. Let you know if you happen to have anybody right around the area, which you do not. We are going to see the 5th and final generator getting complete across the way. Now, that is some valuable information. However, you'll notice on the right side of your screen, as well as by the fact that our clown is moving just a little bit faster, we do have that haste status. That is going to be that no one escapes death. That is going to be a one-shot down there by Sir Goosington. And as long as we are able to secure up our slugs, that is going to be another 4K. Really strong performances all the way around from our killers tonight.
Absolutely. Every killer bringing it to the table, showing what they've got. And just very fun, good games to watch from everyone involved. Again, glad to see that even coming into game 4 where the match has already been set, we did still see some good gameplay. Glad to see our players taking this game seriously and as an opportunity to practice and learn and grow.
Now we are going to see Sir Goosington here. In case anybody's wondering what's going on here at this point, you're just making sure that you don't have a deliverance or a 4% before you go to secure the last and final elimination here. That's just going to make sure that we move into the end of the trial here a little bit quicker. And of course, with the extra help from the cigar box, that is going to help you as far as with the aura reading there as well. So not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in chat, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me. A relatively impressive performance here from our clown. Really good performance too, also worth noting. You know, our survivors were able to bounce back and get all 5 generators done. Just unfortunately, the clown here, they did show up to play.
A good performance. We were making note of this is the first time we've seen this killer show up for Immortal Alliance, and I am excited to see what they bring to the table moving forward.
Yeah, you know, maybe this is going to be the first of many performances from Sir Goosington. Not sure if this is just maybe like a new M1 killer or something, but definitely a nice notch to get under the belt regardless there. And we are going to see, you know, as you can see on the scoreboard up in that top right-hand corner, that is going to be the win here. And hookers, you know I saw people in the chat noticing it, and I know we already talked about it, but I can't help but bring it up again. The hookers, so much improvement from this team over the course of this last month, and really just showing that they're here to play.
Absolutely. Definitely from the hookers, we've seen a lot of improvement even between this week and last week. They really have shown that they are putting in the hard work, they are putting in the hours, they are practicing a lot, and it's paying off for them. They're really becoming a force to be reckoned with in this tournament. Kate and B Orange doing a really good job of, you know, putting their team through their paces very obviously, as we've seen today.
And, you know, now we're talking about these two teams. You've got 3 weeks down, what, 9 to go? You had mentioned the pace for the league definitely has been set, but this is not a sprint. This is definitely a little bit of a longer race. We're, you know, only a quarter of the way through it, at least for the teams that have already played thus far here. So going to be interesting to see what kind of strides Hookers continues to make from here on out, right? And even Immortal Alliance too. I don't want to continue to just say that one team's made big difference. I mean, both of these teams we've seen huge improvements from both of them.
Absolutely. Immortal Alliance has definitely shown that they have also been putting in a lot of really hard work. So I'm really excited. This is only week 3, and after seeing the leaps and bounds both teams have been making throughout the weeks, I'm really excited to see how they end up playing in those final matches.
And we do see here, and do keep in mind, chat, one thing that I just do want to bring up, we will not be doing an interrogation room tonight. Just as we've got kind of had some things going on as far as in the background. Or wait, no, are you telling me something different? I see you might be telling me something different, maybe?
I was gonna say we could if you wanted to. We might have somebody
I just wasn't sure as
willing to
far
come
as
talk
like
to us.
the getting all the permissions and everything working as far as in the background, because
We're all right to do it. Yeah, it's been a little. We're experimenting today, guys. We're getting weird with it, but yeah, no, we're good to do that. We will be pulling someone in here shortly.
Ooh, exciting. I like it. Okay. But yeah, worth mentioning also, keep in mind, chat, even though this is going to wrap up Vigo's Court as far as for today, the weekend as far as competitive DVD and Vigo's Court is not over. We have got some more matchups tomorrow since it is a holiday week and we missed out on our normal Thursday slots. We have also got some games on Sunday as well. So make sure you're keeping an eye out in the Discord. If you guys are here and you have not already hit the follow button down there in the bottom right hand corner, as well as turn those notifications on, that way you can make sure you're here every time we go live as well.
Absolutely. And if you guys are wondering who we're going to be playing, who's going to be playing tomorrow, you can follow us on social media and find that information out. Actually, you can find us at Vigo's Court on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we post when all of our games are going to be happening. But if you guys are curious, tomorrow we have Deadheads versus Wrecking Crew, Hex Girls versus Entity, Six versus Outlaws of the Fog, and Arctic Wolves versus Four Dwights, One Locker. If you want to make sure you catch those games, follow us on social media. Make sure you're followed here too and have those notifications turned on so you know when we go live. But it does look like we have somebody entering the interrogation room.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Not gonna lie, I feel pretty great. But I was
Yeah,
gonna
you should.
start.
You really
some fun
should.
games.
Yeah, for everyone who doesn't know, we have B Orange here with us, the killer that we saw perform for the Hookers today. So, the Freddy game, I had asked for a Freddy earlier. I don't know if you heard that, but that was really cool to see. A lot of people don't think Freddy is that strong in comp. Apparently, or obviously, you don't share that that idea as well.
Nah, actually, I did not hear that. I've been trying to practice Freddy since I don't really play him, and from what we've gone against, Freddy can be pretty good on that map. Short loops with his slowdown can get you some pretty quick and easy hits. And then his teleport on top of that, you don't really have to worry about map size.
Yeah, and I definitely noticed you really strayed away from what we've seen as like the popular or meta perks to use, and you built a perk loadout that really gave you a ton of information. Was that on purpose?
The main thing, as you saw, I ran in both games. It was Thrilling Tremors, Surge, and Pop. Because of the map being so small, Surge can hit 1, 2 gens consistently, maybe even 3. And so that with Thrill, then I get info on the far gens, and I go and pop those. So it's like I'm getting slowed down on the whole map with every down. And it's a bit more consistent too, versus like Ruin Undying, because they could just find your totems easy. This one, they can't really play around it.
Absolutely, definitely noticed that you were able to put down a lot of pressure. Not just, I believe you had Pop Goes the Weasel as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you have Pop Goes the Weasel as well. So definitely able to put down a lot of really consistent pressure on those generators.
Yep, and as you saw with the Freddy game, I was also running Eruption. With Eruption and Thrill combo, something I've been trying out, if you can get them to scream after a down with Eruption, they can't do anything for 16 seconds.
Then they're covered
So
up
they're
with
useless
Thrill.
for that time.
Right.
And then after that, I have Thrilling Tremors, which will block the gen again for another 16 seconds.
Right.
That's a solid, like, half of a gen. They can't really do anything.
And then you can get over there with your Pop Goes the Weasel, apply the other 25%. We saw you really being able to combine the Pop Eruption combo onto a couple of gens, and it seemed to really put a stall on their objective completion there.
Yep, and on top of that, Eruption and Surge, if you can get it down with Surge and Eruption on a gen, it's 14% on top of the Pop if they tap it again.
Surge, I'm not familiar with this. Are you talking about Jolt?
Jolt. Yeah. I refuse to call it Jolt.
Supremacy, Surge Supremacy. I'm here with you on that one. I don't like Jolt.
Thank you.
Team Jolt versus Team Surge. Sounds like Pokemon. Ugh. Anyway, so you also played in the Survivor matches, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I did. I was the Zarina.
You were the Zarina. How are you feeling in that first match? Playing against a Wraith, knowing that you were going to be playing a Wraith.
To be honest, I felt pretty good. I used to play Wraith a lot, and so I was kind of comfortable with thinking, okay, well, I would do this, so how do I play around this, you know? It's like going against your main.
Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Q, do you have any other questions?
No, it's just before
No.
we get you out of here, boss, is there anything that you want to say to, maybe some of the Hookers fans or the rest of the squad or anything like that?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, nothing, just GG's all around. Those matches were pretty fun, and that clown was surprisingly good.
Yeah, he was really good. He was a really good clown. Yeah, I'm very impressed by all the clowns we've seen so far. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us in the interrogation room today. Good game. It was very fun to watch you play, and I'm excited to see what you guys bring out in the future.
Thank you.
All right, and you guys heard it here first, but it does look like the Hookers have been convicted of murder. Very good games today from all of our teams. Really, really excited to see what the future holds for everybody involved, but I really did enjoy. I mean, like, I'm enjoying all the clowns we're seeing. And not just in chat, but, in the game.
Yeah, it's I always love to see, I think, the positivity kind of shine, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely love to see everyone coming together and being very kind to each other as best they can.
All right, that is going to wrap things up as far as for us today. Again, keep in mind we got games tomorrow and Sunday as well. So if you have not hit that follow button, we did just recently cross over that 1,400, so we do greatly appreciate that. Make sure not only are you smacking that follow button, but tell some friends, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about it. Otherwise, though, we appreciate you guys for spending your Friday night with us. A lot of things you can be doing. I know, like, obviously shopping is a big thing on the Friday after Thanksgiving and all of that. So we appreciate you stopping here, right? So anything you got for us before we get out of here, Shep?
Nope, that's going to be it from us. We will see you guys back here tomorrow. Same place, not the same time, but make sure, again, you guys follow us on social media so you can see when we will be back here with the next part of week 3.
All right. Peace.
Bye, guys.